Hello friend, my name is Vikas, BSc Chemistry Honors, third year. So our chapter is drugs. Drugs and their classifications. Drugs are chemical of low molecular weight masses. These interact with a macromolecular targets and produce a biological response. When the biological response is a therapeutic and useful, these chemicals are called medicines and are used in diagnosis, prevention, and treatment of disease. Most of the drugs are used as medicines and potential poison if taken in doses higher than those recommended. Use of chemical for therapeutic effect is called chemotherapy. Classifications of drugs on the basis of pharmacological effect. These classifications is based on the pharmacological effect of the drug. It is useful for doctors because it provides them the whole range of drug available for the treatment of a particular type of problem. For example, analgesics have pain-killing effect, antipsychotics kill or arrest the growth of microorganisms. On the basis of drug action, it is based on the action of drug on a particular biochemical process. For example, all antihistamines inhibit the action of compound histamine which cause inflammation in the body. There are various ways in which action of histamines can be blocked. You will learn about this on the basis of chemical structure. It is based on the chemical structure of drug classified in the way share common structural features and often have similar pharmacological activity. For example, sulfamides have common structural features on the basis of molecular targets. Drugs usually interact with biomolecules such as carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. These are called target molecule or drug target. Drug possessing some common structural features may have the same mechanism of action of target. The classifications based on the molecular weight target is the most useful classifications for medical chemist. Drug target interaction. Macromolecules of biological origin perform various functions in the body. For example, proteins which perform the role of biological catalyst in the body are called enzymes. Those which are crucial to communication system in the body are called receptor. Carrier proteins carry polar molecules across are called receptors. Carrier proteins coded genetic information for the cell. Lipids and carbohydrates are structural parts of the cell membrane. We shall explain the drug target interactions with the example of enzymes and receptors. Enzyme as drug target. Catalytic action of enzyme. For understand the interaction between a drug and an enzyme, it is important to know how do enzymes catalyze the reaction. In their catalytic activity, enzymes perform two major functions. First function of an enzyme is to hold the substrate for the chemical reaction. Active sites of enzymes hold the substrate molecule in suitable position so that it can be attacked by the reagent effectively. Substrates bind to the active site of the enzyme through a variety of interactions such as ionic bonding, hydrogen bonding, van der Waals interaction, or dipole-dipole interaction. Second is the second function of the enzyme to provide functional groups that will attack on substrate and carry out chemical reactions. Drug enzyme interaction. Drug inhibited any of the above mentioned activities of enzymes. These can block the binding site of the enzyme and pressure the binding of substrate, or can inhibit the catalytic activity of the enzyme. Such drugs are called enzyme inhibitors. Drug inhibit the attachment of substrate on active site of enzymes in two different ways. Drug compete with the natural substrate for their attachment on the active effect of the enzyme. Such drugs are called competitive inhibitors. Some drugs do not bind to the enzyme active site. These bind to a different site of enzyme which is called allosteric site. This binding of inhibitor of allosteric site change the shape of the active site in such a way that substrate cannot recognize it. If the bond formed between an enzyme and an inhibitor, a strong covalent bond, cannot be broken easily, then the enzyme is blocked permanently. The body even degrade the enzyme inhibitor complex and synthesis the new enzyme. Receptor as a drug target. Receptor are proteins that are crucial to body communication process. Majority of these embedded in the cell membrane. Receptor proteins are embedded in the cell membrane in such a way that their small part of processing active site projects out of the surface of the membrane and opens on the outside region of the cell membrane. In the body, message between two neurons and that between neurons to muscles in communicated through certain chemicals. These chemicals, known as chemical messengers, are received at the binding site of receptor proteins to accommodate a messenger shape of the receptor site change. This brings about the transfer of message into the cell. Thus, chemical messenger gives a message to the cell without entering the cell. There are a large number of different receptors in the body that interact with different chemical messengers. These receptors show selectively for one chemical messenger over the other because their binding sites have different shape, structure, and amino acids composition. Drugs that bind to the receptor site and inhibit its natural function are called antagonists. These are useful when blocking of message is required. There are other type of drugs that mimic the natural messenger by switching on the receptor. These are called agonists. These are useful when there is lack of natural chemical messengers. Therapeutic action of different classes of drugs. Antacid over the production of acids in the stomach causes irritation and pain. In some cases, are developed in stomach. Until 1970, only treatment for acidity was administration of antacids such as sodium hydrogen carbonate or a mixture of aluminum and magnesium hydroxide. However, excessive hydrogen carbonate can make the stomach alkaline and trigger the production of even more acid. Metal hydroxide are better alternatives because of being insoluble. These do not increase the pH above neutrally. These treatments control only symptoms and not the causes. Therefore, with these metal salts, the patient cannot be treated easily. In advanced stage, allergies ulcers become life threatening, and it is only treatment is removal of the affected part of the stomach. A major breakthrough in the treatment of hyperacidity came through the discovery according to which a chemical histamine stimulates the secretion of pepsin and hydrochloric acid in the stomach. The drug cimetidine was designed to prevent the interaction of histamine with the receptor present in the stomach wall. This resulted in release of lesser amount of acid. The importance of the drug was so much, but it recommended the largest selling drug in the world until another drug was discovered. Antihistamine. Histamine is a potent vasodilator It has various functions. It contracts the smooth. It contracts the smooth muscles in the bronchi and gut and relaxes other muscles such as those in the walls or fine blood vessels. Histamine is also responsible for the nasal congestion associated with common cold and allergic response to pollen. Synthetic drug bromodimetap and Saldane act as a antihistamine. They interact with the neutral action.